Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for tuning in for another weekly live analysis. Feeling good, feeling great. Had a pretty good week. Just getting ready to see how this next week is gonna go. So yeah, we're gonna get into the charts in a little bit, break down the pairs, looking at the quarter points, looking at supply and demand concepts. Also higher time frame analysis. We mostly look at the weekly chart, but I do trade on the lower time frames, on my phone. But I just want to stick to weekly analysis. So the signals are provided through um, my TradingView account, and you can follow them through this page here. So they're free educational signals just to watch my trading, not meant to be necessarily taken live in your account. Just look at it, help you with your analysis as I'm entering trades based on the you know analysis that I do every week. So yeah, let's get into the economic market calendar. All right, so we still got it set up from last week. So let's refresh the page. All right, so today couple people speaking. ECB, nothing major. Let's see what's going on next week. PMIs, cool. CPI Wednesday for GDP, cool. All right, so Friday, 8:30 core PCE. Let's see. Yeah, nothing major. Maybe read this one. Core PCE. Share this tab instead. Core Personal Consumption Expenditure Price Index measures the changes in the price of goods and services purchased by consumers for the purpose of consumption, excluding food and energy. Prices are weighted according to total expenditure per item and measures price change from the perspective of the consumer. It is a key way to measure changes in purchasing trends and inflation. A higher than expected reading should be taken as positive or bullish for the US dollar, while a lower than expected reading should be taken as negative or bearish. So, it's been pretty consistent. 0.3. So we'll see if it's higher or low next week. You guys got to remind me because I'll be forgetting. All right, so let's read some news. Got this article by Russell Shore. Debt ceiling negotiations support FXCM's U.S. dollar basket, but pressures XAU USD. So that's going against our bias of dollar short in general. Let's just see. As the deadline approaches for the United States to increase its spending limits and prevent a potentially catastrophic default, tensions are steadily escalating. Congress is responsible for increasing these spending limits to avoid default, but Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy will not do so without an agreement on spending cuts and spending limits. This is leading to a fair amount of uncertainty, and the dollar is benefiting as a haven. Given that XAU is priced in dollars, it is also reacting. The top chart shows FXCM's US dollar basket, and the candlestick chart underneath it is gold. The bottom indicator shows the correlation coefficient between the two. So let's look at the chart. So it's the dollar index bullish, gold looking bearish since about the middle of May. US dollar has moved into its bullish channel between the upper blue and red bands. This is due to the uncertainty of the debt ceiling negotiations and a flight to safety, i.e., money is moving to the dollar. In reaction to US dollar strength, XAU USD has moved into its bearish channel between the lower blue and red bands. This makes sense given that the correlation coefficient between the two is negative 56%, reflecting an inverse relationship. As long as uncertainty persists, the dollar will likely have a tailwind with gold feeling the pressure. So saying that the dollar might recover. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. All right. So COT. Let me just get it set up. We'll look at GBP first. Why not? Let's just look at AUD since we're here. Opinion. Strong sell. So overall outlook on AUD is weakness. NZD. Okay, overall opinion is strength on NZDs, and then let's look at GBPs. Overall opinion is strength on GBPs. So yeah, when I start learning more about like COT charts, I might learn how to read this. But for now, I'm just using the opinion. All right, so let's get into the charts. It's 9 o'clock. We gotta look at our weekly entries. So give me a second to get my chart set up. Oops, I just got a sneak preview to the magic. All right, okay. I kind of want to, since it's the end of the month, I kind of want to look at my monthly zones to see if they're still holding valid. Yeah, zone is still valid. Let's go back to the weekly. Weekly zone is still valid. Monthly zone is still valid. Just need to make this bigger. All right, cool. So as you can see, we had a slight reaction off of our weekly demand zone. So if we were to break and retest, then it will become a supply zone. Right now we're at the 0.665. Hold on. Is that a quarter point? No, I'm tripping. That's where price is currently. So we just reacted off the 0.675 quarter point. It's been acting as supply since around February, end of February. So potentially we could break this and look and move down, especially since they're suggesting AUD weakness, and we could potentially go back and retest like maybe this weekly demand zone down here, which would correlate with the 0.625 QP. So yeah, maybe a potential idea if we were to go short based on sentiment would be from the 0.65 to the 0.625, and if we were to break above, we'd be looking for the 0.675 to the 0.7. Whew. Hot sauce. Um. Anyways, let's move on. So. uh, This monthly zone is still valid, but we do have a closer one that we could use, so I might as well move it to that one. All right, cool. So we got this monthly zone that's supply. Some prices of interest would be 0.625, 0.65. And right now it looks like we're failing to break the zero point 0.6 QP. So AUD Swiss franc does look good for a buy setup, potentially from zero point 0.6 to 0.625. Before then, looking for shorts, anywhere between these prices for continuation down if we were to continue being bearish. So that's that. All right, so looking at the weekly. Oh yeah, and by the way, this indicator I use it for my higher time frame and lower time frame analysis. It's a custom indicator through ForexFreeClub called intraday quarter point, something like that. Hopefully, I got a bunch of indicators that I save, but I'll show you guys this indicator because I know people are probably gonna start asking. Um, yeah, intraday quarter points, psychological levels. So that's what it's called. If you guys were interested in that, I don't really use it too much. I just use it for confluence mostly. But it does have some cool features on there if you want to get into it. All right, cool. So monthly zone is way more valid now. Weekly zone still valid. Got the reaction, bullish reaction here. Came back, retested the zone. Had a nice buy this past week. Right on the Q piece, zero point 0.6 to 0.625 would be a nice trade if we do get that set up, and then we could wait for price to turn around and possibly roll over. So yeah, looking at potential buys on AU and A Swiss for next week, that would be two nice setups. So yeah, we'll take a look at those when the time comes, but you guys can enter it now um, with the weekly uh, entry if you wanted to. That's a part of my strategy to enter at the end of the week. But what I've been doing recently is using the price to look for that entry during the week if I find a better setup. All right, so then GU, so monthly. All right, so we do have a better monthly zone. I might as well move it. It's good to go back to your high time frames and constantly update the charts. So yeah, that's the monthly zone. Monthly zone, weekly zone. This weekly zone, I'm gonna get rid of it because it seems like it's not really helping much. Yeah, so we'll just leave it at a monthly zone for this one for now. If I were to do something in terms of a weekly zone, I'll probably use like the wick of a candle. I'll say maybe this. Yeah, this technically we're in a weekly demand zone right now. So let me try that. How much? Dang, going crazy in the chat. I don't really like it because it's doji, but I'm gonna just drop it to the wick and change the color. So technically, we're right. We're sitting on top of a weekly demand zone. So it's possible we could get a nice turnaround from GU to continue higher since we have a strong buy opinion on GBPs. So with the dollar strengthening recently since the middle of April, it's possible that um, this could be a stronger pullback. But because we have these two zones of confluence in terms of looking for demand setups, and we have our trend also confirmed by this higher low, we can look for buys on pullback candles on the weekly time frame. So you see something like this, and we had one strong candle, we had a couple small candles, and then we immediately turned around for a nice push. So I'm trying to catch one of these setups pretty much using the quarter points to take profits. Okay, so or to re-enter, depending. All right, so then the weekly we did that already. All right, cool on GU. So GU possibly buys. G Swiss, honestly, I want to just leave G Swiss alone for now because this consolidation is making me crazy. If we clear this high, then maybe we could get a push up from this quarter point, the 1.125 to the 1.15. When it'll happen, who knows? So for now, we're just going to sit on our hands and just watch to maybe use correlation of GU. I use the JPYs also as correlation, and the JPYs have been reacting pretty bullishly recently. So that's a good sign for the rest of the market to follow suit. All right, and let's actually do G-Swiss. I didn't update my monthly on G-Swiss. All right, yeah, that's still valid. Yeah. All right, and then Monday, and then the monthly one, NU. Yeah, that zone is still valid. It looks like we're consolidating off of the reaction from that monthly zone. So I don't know if we're going to retest or just break since we did get this monthly engulfing candle this month. So yeah, basically, if we close above this candle or NU either this week or possibly this could be the entry. Honestly, I would just enter now because this kind of bullish reaction, and we have the confluence of the zone. If we were to get another candle this strong to retest, I'll be very surprised because at this point that momentum off the retest is good enough. Yeah, so I would say buys on NU for next week, hoping to break this zone at the QP 0.65 and break and retest possibly to extend to 0.675 and even further maybe. We'll see. And then NZD Swiss franc. Okay, so NZD Swiss franc has already started the movement. Let me go to the monthly and see if the zone's still valid. Yeah, the monthly zone's still valid. Weekly. I'm gonna just get rid of this since we already know that we're using QPs as supply and demand as it is, so it's kind of redundant. But so right now the QP range we're looking at is 0.55 to 0.575. I was actually catching buys off the 0.55. and it's been given a nice push for the past several weeks, almost a month. So we do have this resistance to be mindful of. So it's possible that either now in a little bit or when we get to 0.575, we could get a nice pullback. So that would be confluence for either a market structure buy set up off the higher time frame, um, or we could just be getting going right back to entry, which would be consolidating within the QP range. So if we get consolidation, then I would just be looking for more buys off of the 0.55 back up to the 0.575. But until we uh, get that break above and that retest to 0.575, we don't really know if we're going to get to this monthly zone. And as you saw, we had other weekly zones. So all of these bullish reactions are potential zones. We have a massive zone right here that we just tapped into. So we don't know how far into the zone it's going to be able to sustain with the bullish pressure we have now. So I don't know. It's up to you guys if you want to trade it. I would probably rather wait for the pullback on the higher time frame before I would look for another position long. But NU looks like it has a better setup. It might be lagging. Let's look at NJ real quick. Yeah, NJ's been moving pretty strong, so um, it's more than likely that NZD might start consolidating. Yeah, like look, we're just at the top of NJ where we've already been showing that we're having bearish reactions from this price, this quarter point, which is at the 87.5 QP. So any interaction with that QP might cause GPPs to start turning around. So we'll see what happens with that. All right, so crypto, yeah, Bitcoin's looking at a nice level to buy from. Let me get rid of the QPs because they don't really work well here. Oh, they do, but I just don't like sending. All right, so if you were looking to buy, I think this would be a nice time to buy. It looks like we're creating a market structure high, but we could, retest this demand down here. So be prepared to basically bear through, price potentially pulling back more to give better pricing. It's not very likely we'll come back to these lows because of the way structure is looking. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Ethereum, pretty much the same as Bitcoin. A lot more consolidation though, however. So that's, I would say it's more of a sign to buy as well, because we do have this small candle here, bearish candle, and then we just are in consolidation again, or we might just stay in consolidation for a while before we ultimately move up. All right, looking at SPX, nice bullish push, cleared the highs. Maybe a retest would be a nice entry, but this looks like it might have been the retest right here. But obviously, I'm not really looking at the indices, cryptos, and metals to necessarily trade them per se. I'm really using them as correlation, and just want to keep my eyes on these markets for later investments. So yeah, Nasdaq gave a nice push as well. Gold looks like it's doing a little pullback, maybe sweeping some trend line liquidity in here. We do have imbalances that could be filled, but it doesn't look like it's necessarily bearish. And then same thing for silver, imbalances. Got a double top for a nice strong pullback, but we haven't broken bullish structure as of yet. So possibly we could get something like this fall. But you can see where this fell to, basically an imbalance fill. So maybe around this area we could look for buys again. All right, so volatility is still falling. I thought volatility might increase. Looks like it's determined to stay at the lows. Looking at the fundamental for Australia, 10-year government bonds. So this is a nice positive sign for Australia as an investment. Maybe the weakness that's forecasted may not be the truth, since I basically trade all of these based on the correlation of going against the dollar. So yeah, GDP is still bullish, and it's giving the signs that it's going to continue that way. NZD is finally, showing their true colors right now, because as you can see, all of this time before, like the past few weeks, we couldn't really decide what it was going to do. Once we got a candle up, we got a candle down, but now we finally have some true momentum entering into the market from last week. So next week might really be a good week to take these entries for. So if you want to enter today and put 100 pip stop loss for the buys on most of these you know assets, I think that would be a good idea. Um, just be careful not to move your stop losses too tight into profit. If anything, after 20 or 30 pips, you can probably put it at break even, and you should be good to go. All right. So yeah, Australian currency index is not really showing strength, but we do have this week that's closing with a looks like some type of bullish reaction from demand here. So that's could be a positive sign. Okay, the BXY is basically playing out just like the GDPs are with a nice pullback um, to our alligators. So we'll see how far into the alligators they go. If we get a bullish signal, then we might take it, or not take it, but use it as confluence, to support our trades. And then NZDs had a bullish reaction after retesting the alligators. Looks like from above. So it looks like if we do get a close above the alligators, that could be a nice sign for bullishness, as we've already kind of flipped. This could be considered the first retest to the alligators, and then we could start trending up and expanding the alligators again instead of being in this contraction. Looking at the JPY basket, yeah, so JPYs are losing strength, so that's supportive of why the JPYs that I trade are so strong right now. If they were not as volatile, I'll probably trade them more often. But for the time being, I'm just sticking to the USD and Swiss franc quote pairs, and then Australian futures. Yeah, cool. I just like to throw all of these together just to compare them, but pretty much they usually are about the same. So yeah, guys, that's all I got for today. So thank you for tuning in. I just want to quickly run through the pairs again. AU looking at a potential buy. All Swiss looking like a nice potential buy as well. GU, I'll probably say maybe a buy, but I would sit on my hands for now because we could get a deeper pullback. G Swiss, probably no trade at all, even though, it's been choppy, but I'll wait to clear that candle high before we take anything. NZD USD, this looks like a great buy setup. And the NZD Swiss franc, I'll say maybe wait for price to push up and give us a proper pullback, create market structure, and then we could take it maybe off the next fractal low. So yeah, that's a summary of what we did in terms of the analysis. Correlation wise, everything is looking pretty bullish, which supports us selling the dollar and buying the market. The only thing to watch out for is that AUDs do have a weak bias, even though the setups are not really looking too weak. So, guys, thank you for tuning in this week, and I will see you next week. And if you have any questions, you can always throw them in the comments, and I'd love to respond to you guys and pick your brains about what you think the market is going to do. So, have a good week.